Good morning, you all, and welcome to the Alumio Talks. Today with me we have Johan Moorman, CEO and founder of Memo, and Casper Halthold, the CEO of Alumio. My name is Ray Bachman, and today we have a really interesting session that I wanted to speak to you about. Actually, you might have heard of a terminology called iPaaS, the Integration Platform as a Service, which is commonly used for integration between systems. But funny thing is, which a lot of people are not aware of, you can use this internally as well. So today I'd like to have a discussion with Johan and Casper about the international operations blind spot. And more or less to start off with Johan. So we're already addressing the world of iPaaS. What's the first case actually that comes to mind when we are speaking about this internal operations on using the iPaaS platform?
Well, the first case that comes to mind is an internal process we optimize with Alumio. That's between Jira and our planning software, Simplicate. That way we can plan our tickets in really easily. So with not an e-commerce case which you normally use, but yeah.
Was that the first time you came across Alumio and using this for internal operations, or how does this came about?
Well, it's a plan we already have for like I think 2 years to optimize internal processes. Of course, we're a tech agency, providing a lot of e-commerce solutions to customers. So also on Alumio, and that's the first thing people think about. Like, okay, let's communicate orders from our web shop into our warehouse management or into our ERP, stuff like that. Um, and a while back, I started thinking that also our internal processes could be connected together through Alumio. So it's not only e-commerce like everybody thinks, and it's 95% of the cases we do with Alumio to connect e-commerce.
Was it a good fit to use Jira for this, or were there any other systems internally that could benefit from that?
Sorry again.
I mean, you mentioned you were using Jira. So were there any
Yeah.
other systems that could benefit from that, or was it just Jira?
No, I think we can optimize a lot. Let's go. Our next step is actually going from Jira into HubSpot to have our ticket and our ticket statuses accessible to the account managers. So every department in our company has his own system they work in. Like our developers work in Jira and maintain tickets and communication with the client on Jira, and that's great. Um, but our planning works in Simplicate and our registration. But our customers want to know. So there's a lot of communication back and forth between different systems, like HubSpot, like Simplicate, but also like we use Snellstart as our accounting software. So invoices, stuff like that. It's all you can communicate everything.
You can communicate. Okay, so that's an interesting one. Thanks for Johan for sharing this. Casper, was this the first intention for creating an iPaaS for also having operational systems like Johan just mentioned, benefiting from it, or can you maybe share a little bit, more on how this iPaaS came about and what the true benefits are and where they lie?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think if we look back to 2016, 2017, when we came across a similar issue, similar challenge. Within every project that we did back then was integrating ecom with ERP systems. But also during, I think, the end of towards 2020, so to say, more and more additional systems were added to the ecom activities of businesses. So we were not only talking about ecom and ERP anymore, but also about WMS systems, logistics, PIM systems. Now, the philosophy behind Alumio was always to connect a multitude of software systems and data sources, because many of our customers still connect internal systems with like ecom platforms through data, through CSV, XMLs, etc. But the funny thing is, really never thought of the idea that you could also do process integration. And process integration is basically, letting systems, internal systems and platforms communicate together and to operate and automate processes internally. So the funny thing is that when our customers were adopting Alumio broader than ecom, they were coming to us with a lot of like real life use cases, and that could be like internal process automation, but also process automation between companies like supply chain. So it really opened up our eyes that we could do way more with Alumio than just integrating systems and software.
Thanks, Casper. Maybe to quickly summarize, can we say that this iPaaS or integration IT platform is actually the hub for connecting anything that has a data stream or feed or file or whatever comes to mind from that exchange perspective?
I think you're right. I think the biggest challenge is not the technical side. It's like, can you imagine a process or an integration that could be automated?
Yeah, yeah. But I guess that comes also with failures with internal processes. I can imagine. I mean, once you have a system in place that might not work, from the start. So I'm kind of curious, Johan. Maybe you can help me a little bit on that. What are the most common internal process failures that we see while adopting these? Is it technology? Is it indeed process? Is it data streams? Well, what comes to mind when you address that?
I think the biggest challenge we faced is internal processes. So what happens? You can imagine if you assign a ticket to the customer, ticket it is done, and you have to replan it because the customer says, "Okay, we need some changes in this solution. It needs to be rescheduled." So it's like thinking through the whole process you do normally as a developer to automate it. It's really much more complicated. So you really have to think about your processes and how to optimize them. But yeah, I think if you start small and start with the most basic things, you can build it really big if you want. Because yeah, well, Alumio has his rules, and you can do ifs and you can do conditions. So the decisions we make as a human, you can put them to paper and design them in Alumio to work in the same way. What if this happens and what if that happens?
Interesting. So maybe to summarize, and then definitely also for the audience here. I mean, I know we are going deeper already on some of the content, but could I say that the fundamentals of a business organization and how to create that fundamental from a process perspective up until what data needs to be exchanged and how systems communicate is actually essential. If you don't have a good internal process, then actually the technology will not succeed because it will be just that technical hub where actually organization with all those communication elements, they need to be in place before we start benefiting from it. Is that something we can allude to?
Yeah, I think so. You have to have insights on your processes, and some processes can't be automated. Let's go, for example, on debtors and open invoices. You need someone who calls your clients. You can't automate it. Of course, there's an emails. Of course, but you can't optimize. You need to really think of, okay, what's a process I do every day a lot, and
Hmm.
can I optimize it? And does it make sense to optimize it? Because you
Yeah.
also can over engineer it, of course.
Yeah. Fair point. Fair point. So when we look at these organizations and definitely internal processes to a little bit, get a little bit deeper there, are there any teams that are hit the hardest, I would say, from an internal disconnect you came across?
Well, the biggest issue you see in a lot of companies is, of course, your data silos. So
Mm.
account managers have different data than your developer. Developer needs to contact the client. Very, very small example, but a developer needs to contact the client, but is searching for a phone number, has to address 3 or 4 account managers before he has the right one. while that data is in your CRM in HubSpot, for example. So it's really about data and getting the data in the right place, getting the right data everywhere in the company.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's really good. Thank you, Johan, for sharing. Casper, I'm kind of curious, when we go into the native integrations, and I'm kind of curious, what's holding us back from that perspective. Now with SaaS, APAS, there's so many acronyms out there. So let's assume that every SaaS solution which is offered today has a native integration opportunities. Are there still companies that hit roadblocks or any other things that comes to mind when you address and speak to those companies?
Mhm. Yeah, it's really good. I speak with a lot of companies, and because my primary role is to understand what the market requires. And I think that if I look at the more larger organizations, their biggest challenge is to make sure that the departments are aligned with IT, because we can speak about data, we can speak about data silos, we can speak about the technical side of integrations or process integration. But the interesting part is that you need, like as an IT team, you really need to understand where, like what your departments are doing, what the people in different departments are doing. So, for example, I spoke to like a large organization, and they were IT was complaining that we don't know what our finance department needs. Um, it is a typical human interaction, right? They're waiting for them to come to IT, and one of the things that I always try to stimulate is, okay, go and speak to those people, like organize regular events, it can be small ones, share successes of what you have automated, and make people aware that they can potentially automate certain processes. And so it's really the human side that makes internal optimizations accelerate, and that is not waiting for people to come to you, but then actually reach out to them and understand, okay, what are you doing? Like, can I sit next to you and see how your regular day operates? And then you start to experience that people still fill in Excel files from an ERP and then send it to somebody else, and then they copy and paste it to another system. Like, oh wait, why not automate that?
Yeah,
And if you look at the native integration which you mentioned, I think it's very interesting to understand that you have to imagine that a lot of organizations have a multitude of integrations, right?
yeah, yeah,
And like Alumio as well, we have certain processes automated via Alumio, but we also have some direct integrations, some native integrations with certain systems. And the interesting thing is, it starts like you can set up a native integration quickly, but then something in your organization changes. So somebody changes the structure of an object in your CRM, and then ta-da, it will not work in your other system anymore. And this is the part where a solution like Alumio supports companies to be agile and to be able to change a certain process, because your processes are not set in stone,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? So I think that is something that I know from experience, and also how I see Alumio as a benefit for that.
Thanks for sharing. So can I assume when these native integrations fall short? I mean, true. I mean, the basics are there, but if something needs to be extended, you need to be flexible, agile, and compliant, of course. Is that Alumio and the iPaaS as an integration platform are actually a key building stone to adapt as quickly and agile as possible, where will businesses continue? Is that what you're more or less summarizing here?
Yeah, businesses are constantly evolving, and like certain processes can remain like intact for a while, but the devil is in the details. So you're adjusting just a little name of an object, and surprisingly, the data doesn't flow to another system anymore. So that's where I really think it helps companies.
Well, and true, and not maybe from an internal perspective, but also external. If indeed if something changes, let's say in an ERP system, enterprise resource planning, then that makes well flexible use case where you can adapt that field and continue your business case, I guess. Thanks, Casper. I think it's really interesting. Johan, let's rethink, the iPaaS as an acronym and look at the internal orchestration. I'm kind of curious to see where this iPaaS and first internal operations, how you could well challenge that to the business use case, and then what components would be necessary. And maybe you can give some examples where a powerful internal automation has taken place while building those iPaaS cases. Maybe you have something that comes to mind.
No, I think it's an overall powerful tool, of course, as an iPaaS.
Mm-hmm.
So, like Casper mentioned, you really have to think about your data. You really have to think about um, um, what does the data do that you change, and what does it do for the system that's receiving. Um, but yeah, in general, it's powerful. It's if you optimize your processes, you can save time. Everybody has problems with a full agenda. Everybody has
Yeah,
problems with resources at the moment. So you
yeah.
really can save time, and you really can save uh, um, resources by automating stuff. Not only in e-commerce, but also in your general office, in your C-level office, you can automate stuff and you can make numbers visible.
So let's assume that I would be a CEO or CIO of any company, and I come across this iPaaS. Can you maybe share couple of bullet points, pros and cons, where you would say, well, using this iPaaS will definitely help you to do A, B, C, or D much quicker, more efficient, which actually leads to, a return of investment or reduces total cost of ownership. These are some of the things I guess maybe people that listening to this podcast might be interested in, instead of, like it's great that we can connect this, but what are the true benefits while orchestrating that you came across?
Okay, I think on C-level, you don't want to go into the details like ticket numbers and what's happening on the tickets, but you want to see how much tickets are open. I'm going back to a software developer or a technical company. You want to see how many tickets are open and if there's a reduction or if the tickets are expanding. So I've got 10 tickets at this moment. And if I check again a week later, I've got 15 tickets. Based on that one, you can see a trend going. Like, are we growing in tickets? Then maybe we need to scale up or we need to rethink our processes. So also with the financial information for the financial department, are we slowly draining money somewhere? And you can do it on department, you can do it on customer level. So you can really gather all those insights into a dashboard on a level you need as a CTO or a CFO, and provide the data you need to make decisions into the company without all the Excel spreadsheets, but do it in, for example, a BI a sort of solution.
So will it benefit me overall while using an iPaaS to reduce total cost of ownership? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think it will in the long term. It will benefit you, of course. And it's an investment. It's a long term investment to get insights and to make the right decisions based on data and not based on feeling.
Hmm.
Um, to get all the data into the platform you use as a CTO, CFO, or customer success manager. So if you see that tickets going up from a customer, you can proactively contact the customer, like, okay, what's happening? Why are your tickets going up? Is it because the tasks are getting bigger, or is there something wrong with the platform? And can we already um, do something and combine a lot of tickets to one big project, for example?
Yeah. So maybe one additional question on this specific one, and maybe you know this by the top of your mind, but just let's assume that you were not using Alumio for these internal processes. How much more work, percentage-wise, would it have been? And now, while using this, how much do you think, efficiency on a company scale has improved your business? Is it more or less than 50% going to the old world versus the new way of operating?
I don't think it's mainly on really um, saving the money rather than optimizing processes and getting more insights. For example, we planned on customers on hours. So what we did is like, okay, this customer needs this much hours this week. That customer, where we found some gaps in planning. Like, okay, people are like 70% working on customers. They are searching for tasks. While now we have the Jira ticket and the estimation in the planning. So we know what the estimation on the ticket is, and we can really plan 8 hours for the customer. Of course, we take into account some free time, but we see numbers for our developers going up slowly, but because everybody has to get used to the system. But the productivity of our developers is going up because we have a clearer view on what they do. They don't have to search in the
Hmm.
board of the customer like, okay, which tickets have priority, which tickets do I have to work on, because they're planned on ticket number. So they really have the day ahead, like, okay, I have to work on these ticket numbers.
Thanks, Johan. Thanks, Johan. One final thought that comes to mind. I mean, iPaaS integration, that's something which been around now for a while, I guess. Maybe for some it is, some maybe it's new. And definitely, there's something new around the block called artificial intelligence. You might have heard of it. Pretty hot right now. And there's a technology within, it's called MCP, Model Context Protocol, where there is an opportunity to chat real time with your data. I mean, now we are talking about internal processes. You mentioned HubSpot, you mentioned Jira. So I'm kind of curious to see maybe Casper, you can help with that. And then as a closer for Johan, is will this MCP in the integration platform be a shiny object? Will it be the next, big thing? What's your personal thought on elaborating new technology within this integration platform and the sustainability for it?
First of all, I think that an iPaaS, an integration platform, accesses data, right, in any kind of manner. And the data is basically the goal of a company. So it gives you the business intelligence, it gives you the ability to automate things, it gives you the ability to optimize things. And so this is what we do. We basically lay those connections. We offer the connectivity layer, but we also offer the way to access the data. Now with MCP, it's basically, if I have to explain it in simple words, a chat window for people like me who need direct access to information. Now, from a business perspective, a lot of us we need to report on a weekly, a monthly basis. Now, getting the data from different systems means that you need to create reports in a multitude of systems. Now, we all know that a lot of us have already created business intelligence reports with Power BI or Tableau or whatever. But it's still a pretty static representation of the data, which obviously has been created by somebody who's able to create those things in Power BI. But for me as a business owner, it would be absolutely fantastic if I can basically write a chat message on my data and it will automatically give me back how much revenue, exact revenue we did last week, or how many orders we signed up, or how many hours people were available or unavailable last week. So it's a more human manner for business people like me to access my data in a compliant and secure way. So it's, yes, it's shiny, And yes, it's in development, but I really think that this is the next step for Alumio to offer our business users more actionable information in real time.
Wow, Casper, this is really nicely put. When will this be available? I guess that's the main question.
Yeah, yeah. So it's just a little glance, and I don't want to create any cliffhangers, but I definitely will, obviously. So we're working on this. Our users will get access when available. But we're creating on the beta at the moment, so it's really exciting. I've played around with it. It's a next big thing, and I can't wait to offer this to the public. But obviously, my hands are tied and my mouth is sealed. So
Well, thank you, Casper. Johan, I mean, Casper just mentioned something really interesting coming from the Alumio development stream. What are your thoughts on actually MCP and the iPaaS and any maybe cases that you came across? What are your personal thoughts and the future for that?
I think Casper really put it out there, and well, I can only say I can't wait. Really curious to that case. But yeah, what Casper already mentioned, it would be interesting to just to ask for numbers in the company. It would be nice to ask, okay, how many open tickets are there on a certain, and then of course you are an iPaaS, we're a tech company, so we have some other information, but really access the information you have in your company, company wide. So not only what you have on an Excel sheet somewhere or on an API somewhere, what you gather, but really just ask a question and make decisions based on those data. So, okay, what was the revenue last month? Okay, we can invest in something, or we can invest in something. What was the revenue over the last 6 months? Okay, we see a slight growth, so we need some developer extra, or we need someone on account management extra. So yeah, that's really interesting, and really looking forward to that kind of that way of work.
Wow. Well, actually, this is mind blowing, of course, from a technology perspective and what it can bring. Thank both of you. I think we learned a lot about how the iPads can not only be used externally, but also benefits from the internal processes. And definitely with the technology of artificial intelligence and MCP, I think there's more to come and more to benefit from any perspective. Johan, thank you again very much for joining today on the Lumio Talk. Casper, thank you very much for giving a lot of insights on where the platform is going and how you can connect it. And up until next time, have a good day, guys.
thank you.
Have a good day, and thank you for having me.